What's up, folks? Welcome to KSN episode 98 on a Wednesday. That's right. We are getting closer to not only one whole year since I started this podcast, we're also getting closer to episode 100. So, before I talk about any sports news, I want to talk about a little bit about this channel, all right? So, I did say that I would like to come back on Tuesday, but the reason why I couldn't is because, well, I'm using this as an excuse again. I was tired and I didn't really have the time. However, I thought of something. I thought of something last night, late Monday night, that I'm like, this is already episode 98. So, I decided that the next 3 episodes will be big ones, all right? This one, it'll be once a week. This week, 1 episode. Next week will also be 1 episode because it's also Christmas week. Which means the week after that, in 2 weeks, will be episode 100. And that means episode 100 will be the year-end review of 2025 in sports. Yeah. I'm doing that on purpose. But it kind of makes sense why I'm doing it this way. So yeah, the next 3 episodes will be big ones. All right. For the next 2 weeks. So yeah, 1 episode a week this week, next week, and the last week of the year. All right. I know lately it's been 1 episode a week because earlier this month my voice didn't sound normal, but I think I pretty much got my voice back to 100%, so that's great. And yeah, guys, only 1 week away until Christmas. You like the Christmas tree in the background? Yeah, it looks nice. 2 weeks away until the end of the year. So yeah, there is a lot to talk about. All right. So yeah, that is the plan for the next couple of weeks, the next couple episodes. And yeah. All right. So, I made a list of things that I want to talk about. All right. And it's pretty much going to be football talk. Yes, because this is the football junkie season. It's pretty much a lot of football talk up the ass. Because this time of the year, not only it's the holiday season, but this is also when American football season gets really interesting for both college football and the NFL. Because a lot of people watch football, a lot of people talk about football. Let's be real, folks. American football is America's #1 favorite sport. It's not even close. So, yeah. But towards the end of the episodes, I'll talk about other sports-related topics just for a little bit. But this is it. The football junkie season rolls on. It's going to be like this pretty much until the Super Bowl. All right? Because this is pretty much the only sport I really watch during this time of year. I don't really follow basketball or hockey. I know they got their seasons happening right now, but lately I haven't been following those sports. All right. I guess I will follow it more after American football season ends. All right. Okay. So, here are the things we're going to talk about here. NFL Week 15 recap, NFL standings, NFL playoff picture, NFL Week 16 preview. College football bowl season is underway. Previewing the CFP Round 1 games. All right? So, yes, I know it's normally 2 episodes a week, but because I'm doing this on a Wednesday, let's do both episodes into one, if that makes sense. Recapping this past football weekend and previewing this upcoming football weekend. All right. Yes. What are we going to talk about? I used to say that quite a lot in the early episodes of this podcast, but now, after a while, I would stop saying that. But once in a while, I'll say it from the top of my mind. All right. So here we go. Week 15 NFL recap. So, got my phone. If you're a sports fan, you have to have the ESPN app because this app is really good. It's free. You can listen to podcasts for free. Here are the podcasts that I listen to on the ESPN app. Baseball Tonight with Buster Olney. ESPN College Game Day with Reese Davis and Pete Thamel. College Football Live, which is also a TV show. SV Pod with Scott Van Pelt and Stanford Steve. They mainly talk about football. The Michael Kay Show. The voice of the New York Yankees, Michael Kay, talking about New York sports. And ENN with Peter Rosenberg. Also a New York sports podcast. So those are the podcasts that I listen to on the ESPN app. I used to listen to the Paul Feinbaum show on the ESPN app, but now I get that on SiriusXM. But you can also get the Paul Feinbaum show on the ESPN app, and you can also watch that show on the SEC network. I believe that is all the ESPN related shows. Oh, the Rich Eisen show. You can now listen to that show on the ESPN app because Rich Eisen is technically part of ESPN, but I listen to his show on SiriusXM. He has a YouTube channel as well where you can watch clips of the interviews and whatever topics he talks about. And that is all the ESPN related shows that I listen to. All right, all of the other shows I listen to, most of them are on SiriusXM. Some are on Amazon Music, and some are on YouTube. Well, speaking of YouTube, you can watch SV Pod on YouTube. Yeah, you can do that. As well as College Game Day. ESPN College Game Day podcast. Not the TV show College Game Day on Saturday morning. I'm talking about the College Game Day podcast. All right? And that's why if you watch the College Game Day TV show, you know how towards the end of the show, the guys, they make their picks? Well, you're probably wondering, the host, Reese Davis, why doesn't he make his picks on the College Game Day TV show? Well, that's because he would make his picks on his College Game Day podcast. Yeah. That's how that works. All right? Okay. So, yeah, ESPN app is great. You know, sometimes I'll get big breaking news, and I'll try to give you my thoughts on that. But, yeah, like I said, during this time of the year, it's pretty much going to be nothing but football talk. Okay, so Week 15. So I already mentioned the last Thursday night game where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to another not so great of a team, the Atlanta Falcons, which is their division rivals. That is a bad loss for the Buccaneers. To Sunday's games. All right. It was an AFC East showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, this time in Foxborough. The Patriots did beat the Bills in Buffalo. That was the Sunday night game. That was the game where Buffalo wore all white, whatever the heck that was. But here we are. They had a rematch Sunday afternoon on CBS. This wasn't the 3:25 p.m. game, even though it should have been, because that was a huge matchup. I wasn't quite sure which team would win that game. I think I had a feeling that Buffalo would get revenge on New England, and they did. However, this was a comeback win for the Buffalo Bills because the New England Patriots were up 21-0. Yeah. 24-7 at halftime. Buffalo scored 3 unanswered touchdowns to take a 28-24 lead. New England scores a touchdown to take the lead 31-28. Then Buffalo scored another touchdown to make it 35-31, and they held on to win that game. That was a must-win. It was a must-win for the Buffalo Bills because their hopes are still alive of them winning the AFC East. We'll take a look at the standings and the playoff picture in a little bit later. How about the Houston Texans? They are a hot team right now with C.J. Stroud. The Aints won again. Can you believe that? Against the Carolina Panthers? Yeah. 20-17. I guess the Aints are playing slightly better when it's too little too late. Well, every year that happens to some teams. The month of December turns out to be their best month of the season. How about the Baltimore Ravens shutting out their division rivals, the Cincinnati Bengals, 24-0. Yeah, that was kind of unexpected because Joe Burrow came back. He came back on Thanksgiving night, so not too long ago. But by the time he came back, it was too little too late for the Cincinnati Bengals of them reaching the playoffs. They are, I'd say they are the bad luck team this year because I think a lot of people expected the Bengals to have a pretty good record. But because of the Joe Burrow injury, they haven't been as good. You know, Joe Flacco took over, and he wasn't terrible. But, you know, the offensive team is not that great. You remember, this team was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, almost 4 years ago. The Bengals are in the Super Bowl. Yeah. What the hell happened to the New York Jets? They got crushed by the Jacksonville Jaguars, 48-20. That's a lot of points in pro football, scoring 48 points. I heard that the Jets, they fired their defensive coordinator. I mean, when is enough for the Jets? Seriously. This team is cursed. This team is more cursed than ever any other team. See, I guess the team that used to be cursed is the Detroit Lions, but it's about damn time that the Detroit Lions are having winning seasons. New York Jets, another losing season? I mean, seriously, when is enough? Speaking of New York Giants lost again to the not-so-great Washington Commanders, 29-21. Man, both the Jets and Giants stink. I mean, that's embarrassing. Both New York teams stink. At least the Giants, they had some great seasons. New York Jets, how many great seasons they've had in history? Not many. Okay. The Kansas City Chiefs. This team was probably the first thing that a lot of podcasts were talking about first. The Chiefs. The team that went to five Super Bowls in 6 seasons. The team that won 2 Super Bowls back to back. The team that won 3 Super Bowls in how many seasons? They won 3 Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes. So they went to 1, 2, 3, 4. They went to 5 Super Bowls and won 3 of them in 6 seasons. It's amazing. But for whatever reason, the Kansas City Chiefs are not a fantastic team this year, and we're not used to seeing the Chiefs lose again and again. They lost again at home to their rivals, division rivals, the LA Chargers, 16-13, which means the Kansas City Chiefs are officially eliminated from the playoffs. First time in the Patrick Mahomes era. I think I heard the last time the Chiefs weren't in the playoffs was about 10 years ago. Yeah. Andy Reid's been the Chiefs head coach since 2013. Great coach, but not a great season this year. And unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes suffered an ACL injury, a season-ending injury. Another player that suffered a season-ending injury. Not too long ago, it was Michael Penix Jr. with the Falcons, which makes the Buccaneers' loss even more embarrassing. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is going to be injured. I think he's going to be out for 9 months. So he might not make it. He might not make it to the beginning of next season in early September. That's how bad this injury is. That really sucks. Listen, I know there's a lot of Chiefs haters lately. I understand that. That's what happens when, a dynasty team. I get it. But no one wants to see anyone get hurt like that. Come on now, If you do, then you're not a sports fan. So, yeah. Will this be Travis Kelce's final season? I heard that it might be his final season. Man, I wish his brother Jason played with the Eagles last season because we would have had the Kelce Super Bowl rematch. This time, Jason beats his younger brother Travis. But yeah, the Chiefs are officially eliminated. That's kind of surprising. For a while I said, do not count this team out. I thought this team would make the playoffs as a wild card spot and maybe they'll make a run, kind of like what they did last year. But, wow. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that are happy that the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs this year because those fans are chiefed out. Was I ever chiefed out? No, not really. I didn't mind. I didn't mind if the Chiefs were to win 3 Super Bowls in a row because that's never happened before. Okay? So, yeah, their dynasty, I guess their dynasty's coming to an end. Before that team, it was the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I got sick of that team after a while because back then I was a bigger fan back then. I guess that's why I got sick of the team. But then today's NFL fans. Yay! The Kansas City Chiefs are eliminated from the playoffs, finally. Yeah, but you see which team is back in the playoffs? The New England Patriots. Oh no! Yeah. The Chiefs are out, but the Patriots are great again. Yep. Yes, they are. Because of one man, Mike Vrabel. Yeah. Last year the Patriots sucked. They did. Talk about turning your season around. Yes, I know I heard that they have an easy schedule, but still, this is pro football, All right. Moving on now. I don't know what the hell happened to the Cleveland Browns. All of a sudden, they're falling apart. How about the Bears with a 31-3 victory over the Cleveland Brownies? The Bears, finally, the Bears are having a great season. See, the Lions are great. They're having better seasons. The Jaguars are having better seasons. The Bears are having better seasons. Not the Jets. Seriously, I mean, oh my gosh. I think the Jets have the longest playoff drought right now. Appearance. Now the Vegas Raiders, they stink. But they've had some playoff appearances, Man, are the Raiders worse than the Jets? The Raiders got shut out by the Eagles, 31-0. Did the Raiders play the Jets this season? I want to see. Somehow the Raiders did beat the Patriots, but that was in week 2. That was week 1, I think. The first game, and that was in Foxborough, which makes it even more surprising. Okay, so the Raiders, they beat the Pats, and they also beat the Titans. Okay, so the Titans, they were the trash team. They were the worst team, but now I think the Titans are no longer the worst team. Titans are playing better now. They're kind of like the Saints. The Saints are playing better now. Oh, yeah. I guess I'm looking forward to Saints versus Titans in between Christmas and New Year's. So, okay, the Raiders, they don't play the Jets, but they do play the Giants. Sunday, the 28th. Okay. All right, I'll preview week 16 a little later. The Indianapolis Colts called back quarterback Philip Rivers. Yeah, Philip Rivers made his return to the National Football League in nearly 5 years. That's crazy. Yeah, 2020, the COVID season was his last season. And it was also his first and last season as a Indianapolis Colt. All those other previous years he played for the then San Diego Chargers. Or I believe I guess there were also the LA Chargers before he, in the late 2010s, I think. I don't know exactly, but it was mostly San Diego Chargers. All right. Yeah. That's crazy. To me, that's like the biggest news of the year. Phillip Rivers coming back after nearly 5 years. He's 44 years old. I heard that he has 10 kids, and he's also a grandfather? What the hell is he doing back in the NFL? Oh, geez, he's making history. Hey, great to see him back. Just don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. I don't know. Maybe if he was playing for the Jets, he might get hurt. Aaron Rodgers, remember his Jets debut? Suffered an Achilles injury. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Jets fans, you're probably going to hate me. I know. But his first game back was a tough road game against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is Phillip Rivers actually going to play in this game? And he did. He really did. And I thought he played well for someone who hasn't played in nearly 5 years as a 44-year-old, or for a 44-year-old, against a tough, great NFC team, the Seattle Seahawks, only losing by 2 points. I thought he played great. His first game back. And he didn't even have time to practice. He didn't do much practice. It's not like he got crushed. It's not like he got hurt. He had some moments in that game. So I want to give a big round of applause to this man for actually playing well for, again, nearly 5 years and his age against a tough team in a tough environment stadium, the Seattle Seahawks. 18-16. That's a weird score, but only by 2 points. The Colts were actually winning that game at halftime, 13-6. Phillip Rivers did throw a 8-yard pass touchdown. And the second half was nothing but field goals. But those kickers are great. With about 47 seconds left, the Colts kick a 60-yarder field goal. But then the Seahawks marched down the field, and they also kicked a long field goal, 56-yarder, and that's how they won, 18-16. The Colts, they almost won that game. So it's great to see Rivers back. Please don't get hurt, because we saw Patrick Mahomes getting hurt, and unfortunately, we saw another player, a big-time name, got hurt by the name of Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons also got injured. And he also suffered an ACL injury, just like Patrick Mahomes. Ugh. Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons getting hurt, injured, the same weekend. That's terrible. That is just terrible, man. These injuries suck. Which is why I'm glad I'm not a professional athlete. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that stuff. Those injuries suck. I mean, you listen, if you're an athlete, you're going to get hurt at some point. Now, there are athletes that unfortunately get hurt every single year, but there are some athletes that are lucky they hardly ever get hurt. Like Tom Brady, he had a long career. He hardly got hurt. He's a lucky man. So, yeah, another injury to a big-time NFL player, Micah Parsons. Green Bay Packers are on the road against the Denver Broncos, and this was the 3:25 p.m. game on CBS. So Jim Nantz, Tony Romo were on the call. This was in Colorado. Bo Nix is a great quarterback. I remember when he played for college football a couple seasons ago. The Packers have slightly gotten better. I remember a couple weeks ago they were counting this team out, but you just never know. But unfortunately, this injury had to happen during this time of the season. December is a great month for football, It's very, very unfortunate. It was a close game between the Packers and Broncos, and Denver has won again. What do they win? Like, how many games did they win in a row? See, it was also like that for the New England Patriots. Their winning streak came to an end, but the Denver Broncos' winning streak continues. All right. 5-Tail, your favorite team got a win against the Titans. Look, the Titans scored 24 points on your favorite team. That just shows you that the Titans are slightly getting better. Yay, they're not going to be winless. I really thought they would be winless. Remember, their win against the Arizona Cardinals, that should have been a loss. That should have been a loss. But somehow they beat the Cleveland Browns on the road. If you're a Browns fan, that's embarrassing. You lost at home to the team that has the worst record. Man, if the Titans were to play the Raiders, Titans would probably win that game. Or even the Jets. I think the Titans are playing better than those teams. But I think the Titans still have the worst record. Do they have the number 1 draft pick selection as of today's standings? Probably so. We got a big game in the NFC. Detroit Lions at the LA Rams. This was also a 3:25 game. Yeah, apparently Fox and CBS both had 3:25 p.m. Central Time games, which is kind of weird. I know. Apparently Panthers-Saints game was also 3:25, and I have no idea why. That doesn't make any sense to me. But this was a big game. Perhaps a playoff preview matchup between the Lions and the Rams. High-scoring game. Matthew Stafford against his former team. I wish Stafford was still with the Lions. It's weird because after he left the Lions started to finally get good, having great seasons. See, the Rams, for those of you that don't know, the Rams are my least favorite team, or one of my least favorite teams, because they beat the Saints to go to the Super Bowl back in 2019. Even though it was a different roster back then, I get it, but they didn't belong in that Super Bowl. And because of that, I'm not going to be rooting for this team, but unfortunately, I have to say this. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. I hope this team doesn't win the Super Bowl again. They might. I mean, I'm sure they'll be the number 1 favorite team to to win. Now, I like Matthew Stafford. He's a great, cool guy. But I just don't like that he's on my least favorite team, one of my least favorite teams. He's on a podcast called Let's Go with Jim Gray on SiriusXM, and he's really good. Every Monday, they would have him on the podcast talking about his performance on the games that he played in. And, he's very chill. He's having, this is probably his best season ever. So the Rams win again. That team can put a lot of points on the board. This team was down 24-14. Then they scored a field goal, make it 24-17 at halftime. And then this team scored 17 unanswered points to make it 34-24. And the Rams kind of just took over. So, yeah, that was a pretty high-scoring shootout. This Sunday night game was not intriguing at all for me. Minnesota Vikings against the Dallas Cowboys, two not-so-great teams. Not terrible, but not so great. And this was embarrassing for the Cowboys. They lost at home again against the team that got shut out last week, the Minnesota Vikings. All of a sudden, the Vikings are playing much better. Like, what the heck? It's so weird how a team can play amazing one week, and then the next week they play like garbage. You just never know. That's why it's hard to bet on these games sometimes, or doing the point spread or whatever you call that. That game could have been flexed out. That Sunday night game should have been flexed out, in my opinion. I don't know why it wasn't. It could have been Lions, Rams, Packers, Broncos, or even Colts, Seahawks. That could have been the Sunday night game, Not Patriots, Bills, because the first time they played each other, that was the Sunday night game. Still, it should have been those other games. And then the Monday night football matchup was also not that intriguing for me. The Miami Dolphins went on the road in the freezing weather against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I didn't see the game because I decided I wasn't interested in that game. But I found out that Peyton and Eli were also covering this game, and I thought they won't be back until January, when ESPN will host a wild card game. Remember, they would usually host a wild card game on Monday night. Yeah, I thought that's when the Mannings would come back, but no, they came back for this game. Aaron Rodgers was playing, and he played great against Tua Tagovailoa. He just can't play. He just can't play well in the cold weather. He just can't. He can't. That's, Miami, they're not used. They never get these types of temperatures. You know what I'm saying? Remember earlier in the season, people thought that Mike McDaniel is going to get fired. Will he still get fired? Maybe not. Maybe not. But now, remember, and also recent weeks, people were criticizing Mike Tomlin. Probably not now after that win. See, that's the thing about football fans. A lot of football fans are spoiled. I get it. Now, if you're a Jets fan, you should be pissed off. If you're a Browns fan, you should be pissed off. Because those two teams, almost every single season is a losing season. All right. And the Raiders. You should also be upset. Now to the standings. Let's take a look here. It's loading. Here we go. So the New England Patriots are still leading the AFC East. They're 11-3. Buffalo Bills are 10-4. AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers are leading that division. They're 8-6. Baltimore Ravens are 7-7. AFC South, Jacksonville Jaguars are winning that division. They're 10-4. Houston Texans are 9-5, and the Indianapolis Colts are 8-6. AFC West, the Denver Broncos are 12-2, and the LA Chargers are 10-4. NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles, most likely they're going to win their division, 9-5. Technically, somehow the Dallas Cowboys aren't eliminated yet. They're 6-7-1. But the Eagles, they're going to be safe. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win that division. NFC North, this gets really interesting. How about the Bears? 10-4, winning the division. Followed by the Green Bay Packers are 9-4-1, and the Detroit Lions are 8-6. Minnesota Vikings are officially eliminated. NFC South, the worst division in this league, is a tie. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers both have a 7-7 record. One of those teams will get in, and the other will be eliminated. NFC West. This has to be the best division because these three teams have double-digit wins. LA Rams, they're winning that division. They're 11-3. They have officially clinched a playoff spot. Seattle Seahawks are also 11-3, and your San Francisco 49ers, your favorite team, 5-Tayer, they're 10-4. Now, 14 teams, correct me if I'm wrong, 14 teams will get in the playoffs, right? It used to be 12. They added 2 more teams. In the MLB, it used to be 10 teams. Now it's 12 teams. So, okay, so in the AFC, Patriots, they're gonna get in. The Bills are gonna get in. We just don't know which one of those teams will win that division. All right. Steelers, I think the Steelers will win the AFC North. I think they're going to have to win that AFC North in order for Mike Tomlin to stay as the Steelers head coach. So I say the Steelers are in. I think the Jaguars will get in. Okay, Broncos are in. I think the Chargers will get in. So I think that last spot will come down to Ravens, Texans, and Colts. Out of those teams, I want to see the Colts in because of Phillip Rivers. I do. NFC, Eagles are going to get in. The Cowboys are not officially eliminated yet, but they're going to be. They're going to be eliminated. Eagles are in. The Bears are in. Rams are in, Seahawks are in, and the 49ers are in. Can you believe that? Has this ever happened before? 3 teams from the same division will be in the playoffs. Okay, so 2 more teams. It's going to come down to the one of those two remaining spots will come down to the Buccaneers and the Panthers. I have no idea which one of those 2 teams will win. Will they play each other? Let's see. The answer is, what? Wait, they haven't played each other yet? What? Buccaneers and Panthers haven't played each other yet. They're going to play each other twice in the last 3 weeks. What kind of schedule is that? They've done this before. Okay. I'm just going to say this. I think the winner of their next game will win the division. It's in Carolina. So I guess I'll pick Carolina to win the NFC South. And I guess that last spot will come down to Packers and Lions. Will the Packers and Lions play each other? No, they already played each other twice. And the Packers won both times. They beat the Lions both times. So I think the Packers are going to get in without Micah Parsons. So I guess that's my prediction. But yeah, I don't want any team except for the Rams. I don't want the Rams to be in the Super Bowl again. I don't want them to win it again. I'm sure you don't want them as well, 5-Tear. Can you imagine? Listen, the Super Bowl is going to be in San Francisco. Oh, imagine the Rams winning the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Or even if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl in San Francisco, that would be just as bad for 49ers fans. Yeah, I don't want to see it. Which team? I really want the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. They've never won it before. They lost 4 in a row over 30 years ago. And for many seasons after that, they've had losing seasons. This just popped into my mind. Buffalo Bills fans, now that the Kansas City Chiefs are eliminated from the playoffs, finally, you're not going to face the Chiefs in the playoffs. This means you got to get in the Super Bowl. You got to get in the Super Bowl. Yeah, they might not win the AFC East. They got to get in the Super Bowl. They got to. It's been long enough. It's been long enough since their last appearance, which turned out to be their 4th consecutive Super Bowl loss. They got to get in. I'm going to be rooting for this team. They got to get in. My father's a Buffalo fan because he grew up in Buffalo. They got to get in. Come on. They got to get in. That was my Super Bowl pick is still alive. Bills against Eagles. That's still a possibility. Although the Eagles are not having as good of a season. See, that happens a lot of times. You know, a team winning a championship, their next season, they're not as dominant. That happens a lot. It does. You know. Although the Eagles can win it back-to-back, like the LA Dodgers, they won it back-to-back World Series. You know, I'm just saying. So there you have it. Standings here. Okay. So as of today's playoffs, if the playoffs were to begin this weekend, the 7 teams in the AFC, Broncos, Patriots, Jaguars, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, and Texans, those teams would get in. NFC, Rams, Bears, Eagles, Buccaneers, Seahawks, 49ers, and Packers. Okay. That's if the playoffs were to begin this weekend. Those teams that I just named would be in. All right. Cowboys are going to get eliminated. Yeah. Let's see. Their last 3 games, home against the Chargers, that's probably going to be another loss. On the road against the Commanders on Christmas Day afternoon, they might lose that game as well. Can you imagine if they also lose their last game, which is on the road against the Giants? So, yeah. You know, the Cowboys, not only it's been 30 years, it's almost going to be 30 years since they last won a Super Bowl. It's also going to be 30 years since their last Super Bowl appearance. And it's also going to be 30 years since their last NFC Championship appearance. That's kind of surprising. You know, they had some great seasons with Tony Romo. I remember Tony Romo played for the Cowboys. They had some great seasons, but somehow they could not go far into the playoffs. All right, Week 16 preview. Yes, I know, still talking about the NFL. This is a big episode because it's only once a week this week. One episode next week and one episode the week after that. So, yeah, 3 big episodes. We have a huge Thursday night matchup, NFC West showdown between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. That's a must-watch game. I don't know if I'll watch it because I might have other plans, but that is a big match. That's the biggest Thursday night matchup of the season. No question. So that's great. That's great for Thursday night football. Rams against Seahawks. 5-Tayer, you're a 49ers fan. Will you watch this game? Because I assume these are 2 of your least favorite teams going at it. What if this is the NFC Championship? You know? Yeah. Wow. That's a big one. It's in Seattle, so I think it's more of a must-win for the Seahawks. Let's see here. Let me look up the ESPN matchup predictor for that game. And they have... It's probably very, very close. Oh, the LA Rams are... They gave them a 54.2% chance to win. I'm going to take the Seahawks. Prime time, night game. It's probably going to be chilly weather up there. I think the Seahawks I think they'll win this game. They can win this game. Might be a close game. I don't know if it'll be high scoring or not, but I think they'll win this game. We have a couple of Saturday games. So this is what they do every season in mid to late December. They'll have some Saturday games. I don't know why they do that. I forgot why they do that. But we got 2 Saturday games, both on Fox. The first one at 4 p.m. Okay. It's a NFC East showdown between the Eagles and the Commanders. Jaden Daniels, I don't think he's playing, right? So the Eagles should win this game, but maybe not. I'll pick them to win, though. Saturday night game is a big one. Oh, my goodness, that old rivalry between the Packers and the Bears. Didn't they just play each other like 2 weeks ago? They're doing this again? A team playing their division rivals twice in 3 weeks? That's so weird. Although, well, in the UFL and the CFL, it's back-to-back weeks sometimes because, you know, there's only 8 teams in the UFL and only 9 teams in the CFL. All right. That's a big one. I'm going to take the Bears to win that game. I wonder what the weather's going to be like. Is it going to be freezing? It's been freezing everywhere. I live in South Louisiana. It's been chilly lately. But the weather's actually going to warm up. It's going to be cold, but not below freezing. It's going to be in the mid 30s. Because earlier this week it was much colder in Chicago. I'm going to take the Bears to win that game. No Micah Parsons, you know. So that's a Saturday night game on Fox. Does that mean Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady, are they going to be on the call? If that's the case, then that means CBS will get the 3:25 games. Let's see if I'm right. Oh boy, Sunday, we got 2 not great teams. One of them is actually a lot worse than the other. Jets against the Saints. Yeah, I'm not calling them the Aints. I'm calling them the Saints because the Saints have won back-to-back games. Let's make it 3 in a row. Let's win 3 in a row. It's in New Orleans. Got to win that game, right? Indoors. That's on CBS. Buffalo Bills at the Cleveland Browns. Got to take the Bills on that one. If the Bills don't win that game, that'll be a big disappointment, which means most likely the Patriots will win that AFC East division. Raiders at the Texans. This is going to be a blowout. Raiders are going to get smashed again. Why on earth is that a 3:25 p.m. game? That game's not in Vegas. That game is not in Vegas. That game is in Houston. Why the hell is that a 3:25 p.m. game on CBS? Really? Really? That makes 0 sense. You know, it's like when Fox had Panthers Saints at 3:25. Why the hell was that the late afternoon game? Makes no sense. All right, Texans are going to win that easily. Chiefs, Titans. I'm picking the Titans. Now that the Chiefs are eliminated, they got nothing to lose. They got nothing left in them. I'll pick the Titans to win. If they do, that'll be their biggest win. Okay, LA Chargers at the Cowboys. I'm going to pick the Chargers. Cowboys are going to be eliminated. Vikings, Giants. I don't know. The Giants are 2-12. Think about that. I'll pick the Giants. I guess. But see, now that we're in December, a lot of these games not intriguing because a lot of these teams are eliminated, you know. Oh, here's an intriguing one. The 7-7 teams. Buccaneers at the Panthers. I'm going to pick the Panthers, and I think the winner of this game will win that division. All right, Bengals at Dolphins. I'll take the Dolphins, I guess. Here's a big one. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Denver Broncos. This game's on Fox? Why isn't this on CBS? It's 2 AFC teams. See, it's weird. It used to not be like this. I don't know if you remember this 5-tayer. Maybe this was before your time. But almost every single AFC game would be on CBS. And almost every NFC game would be on Fox. If the visiting team's an AFC team, going to an NFC team stadium, the game would be on CBS. If the visiting team's an NFC team, going to an AFC stadium, the game would be on Fox. It's not really like that anymore, sadly. And I wish it can still be like that. Because it really meant something for the networks. But I've actually said this one time, and I'll say it again. It might as well be the complete opposite. Let's have all the NFC games on CBS, and let's have all the AFC games on Fox. Why do I say that? Because Jim Nance's partner is Tony Romo. Tony Romo played for the Cowboys NFC team. Most of his games were NFC games. Tom Brady, he's on Fox. He played for the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but most of his career was with the Patriots. Most of his games were AFC games. Might as well be, it might as well be like that. Why isn't this game on 3:25? Jaguars Broncos. Why isn't that a 3:25 p.m. CBS game? Is it because the Broncos hosted a 3:25 p.m. game on CBS last week? Is that the reason? Why isn't that the prime time game? Let me see. I'm gonna see what the Sunday night game is. It better be a good one. I'll take Denver Broncos to win that game. Falcons Cardinals. I guess I'll pick Cardinals. Okay, the 3:25 p.m. game is Steelers versus Lions. Two 8-6 teams. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions to win that game because they're the home team. Wait, what? Oh, wait, never mind. Okay. So I guess CBS has to have two 3:25 p.m. games. So the other one they chose is Raiders-Texans. That's going to be a blowout. If that game isn't a blowout, that'll be surprising. If the Raiders win that game, that would be the upset of the year, I think. Okay, the primetime game is Patriots against Ravens, okay. It's a must-win for the Ravens. It is. See, they played at home on Thanksgiving. Joe Burrow's return. I didn't thought the Ravens would lose that bad, but I think they're playing better. I think I'll pick the Ravens to win, but I'm not confident on that one. They're 7-7. And then we got the 49ers and Phillip Rivers. The Monday night game is 49ers and Colts. Interesting. Sorry, 5-Tayer. I'm going to be rooting for... I have to root for Rivers. I have to root for Phillip Rivers. I think the Colts can win this game. They're at home. It's going to be a welcome back. Welcome back, Phillip Rivers. I don't think I'll be able to watch that game, though, because that's a couple of nights before Christmas, because I might have other plans. I don't know if I'll be able to watch any of these games. Because, we're on the holiday season. You guys know I have the main channel, Eric Super Magnificent. It's a big month for that channel, So, I might do live streams during the games, so it's not easy for me to keep up with everything. But I think the biggest matchup is that Thursday night game. That's the biggest one. All right. This is it. This is where it gets really, really interesting. Now the college football. Yeah, more football talk. I'm telling you, this is the football junkie season. So Bowl Mania. Bowl Mania is underway, and every year I do my picks for the Capital One Bowl Mania. Been doing that for like over 10 years in a row. And if you want to join my group, let me know in the comments, and I'll send you the link, all right? But I think I got like 10 people in the group. That's a lot. That's great. The more, the better. So, yeah, the bowl season has begun. I didn't really watch any of them so far because there's only as I speak, only 3 games happened. The first one was the Cricket Celebration Bowl between SC State, which is South Carolina State, against Prairie View. That's always the first bowl game, the Celebration Bowl in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home to the Atlanta Falcons. And I didn't see this game, but turns out this was a very close game. It went into 4 overtimes. Amazing. Yeah, Prairie View was up 21-0 in the first half. And South Carolina State scored three unanswered touchdowns to tie the game at 21, and then it became a shootout. It became like a back and forth scoring touchdowns. And then overtime, they scored a pair of field goals, then no team could score for the next couple of overtime rounds. And then they do that 2-point pass, which I'm not really a fan of that. Where they alternate. I'm not really a fan of that. But I don't know what else college football can do to make their overtime better, But I guess because they don't want the game to go on forever. I get that. But, yeah. But you got to have a winner, obviously. I picked that game wrong. That is actually my least confidence. Because I know nothing about those two programs, so I'm just going to leave that game at my least confidence. I picked Prairie View to win, and I got that wrong. But that's my least confidence. Yes, I do confidence where I think there's like 46 games total, which is crazy. If you get the game correct, then you'll get a certain amount of points based on your confidence level. All right? So if I were to get this first game correct as my least confidence, then I would only get 1 point. All right? The second game was the bucked up LA Bowl between Boise State and Washington. I actually picked Boise State to win, but that was also my second least confidence. And Boise State got crushed. They got crushed 38-10. And the game that just happened the other night, the Veterans Bowl between Troy and Jacksonville State. Is that correct? I heard that they're from the Conference USA. I picked Jack State, but that was my third least confidence because I don't know anything about those teams. But yay, I got one game correct, so I got 3 points total. Okay. I had the game on in the background, but I wasn't really watching it. I was doing something in my bedroom, and then when I came back in this room, I saw the final play live, the Hail Mary attempt. I was like, oh my gosh, Troy is going for the game-winning touchdown. They almost caught that ball. Oh, wow. Amazing. So, yeah. The name of my Bowl Mania group is called Good Luck Watching Every Game. Because obviously I'm not watching every game. I usually watch the big games. So, yeah, the playoff games. And then, the games around New Year's are usually the biggest ones. But, these bowl games right now, they're little bowl games, See, look, today, Wednesday, we got 2 games, 4 p.m. on ESPN, 2 9-3 teams, Old Dominion against South Florida. How many people are going to watch that game? Not many, okay? And then the game after that is Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns against Delaware. I guess I can watch that game. Hey, I'm from Louisiana. I'll be rooting for those Ragin' Cajuns. But, oops, yeah. I did a video on my main channel of me making my Bowl Mania picks. So if you want, you can go ahead and check that out. But hey, That doesn't mean those are my official final picks. I might change them. I might change the picks. Sometimes, a lot of times when I change my picks, I get them wrong. Yeah, doesn't that suck sometimes? Oh, we also have a Thursday night game. Missouri State against Arkansas State, the Xbox Bowl. Huh. Where the heck is that game at? The Xbox Bowl, not the Xbox Series X. It's just called the Xbox Bowl. This game will be in Frisco, Texas. I actually forgot which team I pick in that game. I'll have to go see. That game's on ESPN too, huh? I'm not sure why isn't that on regular ESPN? I guess they're having basketball. All right, Friday we got an early game. Kennesaw State against Western Michigan in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I also forgot which team I pick in that game. Obviously, I'll be at work, so I'm going to miss that game. 1:30 p.m. Central. Memphis at NC State. That is a more of an interesting matchup. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. I also don't know which team I pick in that one. But Friday night is the beginning of the college football playoff first round matchup between number 9 Alabama, which it's hard to believe that they're in the playoff. And it's more unbelievable that they didn't drop us. They didn't even drop. Their rankings didn't drop after they got crushed by Georgia. What the freak? But they're going to have a rematch against Oklahoma in Norman. To be honest, I am not that excited for this matchup. I'm not really excited for this matchup. So I'll probably just put it on in the background. But I assume this is the game where Paul Feinbaum will be at with SEC Nation. I guess he'll do his show live in Norman from 2 to 6 p.m. on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM, SEC Network. I'll have to listen to his show live, him talking about this, previewing this game. So I'm not gonna say which team I think will win for these playoff games because I'm actually going to do a video for tomorrow. Tomorrow on the main channel, Eric Super Magnificent will have a video of filling out the college football playoff bracket challenge, whatever you call that, on ESPN.com. So look out for that video tomorrow afternoon, or maybe tomorrow morning. Yeah. Let me just say this. I don't want Alabama to win. They're the last team I want them to win this whole thing. Because, in my opinion, they shouldn't be in it. They should not be in the playoff. Notre Dame has the right to be angry that they're not in the playoffs. That's why they opted out in that bowl game. What was it, the Pop-Tarts Bowl? You know? So, one first round playoff game on Friday night. Then the other games will be on Saturday. Okay, so we have both. Okay, so Alabama versus Oklahoma. Excuse me. That game's both on ABC and ESPN. Is it the exact same broadcast or different? I don't know. I assume Chris Fowler will be the announcer for that game, since he is the voice of the SEC on ABC. He might as well be the announcer for that game. 9 versus 8 matchup. Saturday, number 10 Miami at number 7 Texas A&M. why is this game on at 11 a.m.? Why? This, to me, this is the biggest first round game, in my opinion. I'm actually looking forward to this game the most. I'm looking forward to this game the most because I think this game could go either way. But why is this on at 11 a.m.? Why isn't this Saturday night? Don't tell me it's because of the NFL games on Saturday. If that's the case, then that's disappointing to me. Like, what the heck? You can't compete with the NFL. Well, at some point, you're going to have to compete with the NFL. It is what it is. Is that the reason why that game's not at 7 p.m.? You probably know the answer, 5-Tayer. I mean, what the heck? This game should be Saturday night. Kyle Field, over 100,000 people. They're not used to 11 a.m. game. Remember A&M was in a 11 a.m. game against South Carolina? What happened in that game? A&M looked lost in the first half. Down 30-0 at halftime. Or was it 30-3? I think it was 30-3, but still. Why is this game at 11 a.m.? That makes zero sense. Well, I guess it's because of the NFL games. What are they, afraid? They're afraid to compete with the NFL? I mean, come on now. Come on. Okay, all right. Well, that also kind of sucks. The 2:30 game is Tulane at Ole Miss. That's a rematch. I'll be rooting for Tulane. I will. I'll be rooting for Tulane. It sucks that Lane Kiffin can't coach Ole Miss's remaining games. I mean, what the heck? I find that stupid. He leaves Ole Miss to become the next LSU football head coach, and he can't finish the Ole Miss season. I don't like that. And because of that, I hope Ole Miss doesn't win. Well, I guess I'd rather have them win it than Bama, because when was the last time Ole Miss won the national championship? I think it's been like over 60 years. That's what I heard, but that's ridiculous. Lane Kiffin can't finish his season with Ole Miss and then go to LSU? See, this is why college football is a mess. The behind the scenes is a mess. The game itself is still entertaining, but the behind the scenes is just ridiculous. It's more drama. There's more college football drama than the NFL. When you really think about that. All these coaches moving to a different program. So it's a rematch between Tulane and Ole Miss, and I think it was, back in September, their first game they played against each other, Ole Miss crushed them. We're going to see how Ole Miss can play without Lane Kiffin. I'm sure they'll still be a great team, but I think Tulane is a better team now than what they were back then. So, again, not going to make my picks on this video. I'm going to do an official video on the ESPN.com website on the main channel, the bracket challenge video, me filling out my bracket. I did that last year. I'm going to do it again tomorrow morning. I'll put that out. But a lot of people are picking Ole Miss to win that game. It might be another blowout. And then the primetime game is James Madison, the 12 seed, against number 5 Oregon. So this is the game that's going to be going up against the NFL. I guess probably because they think Oregon's going to crush James Madison. That's why that's the primetime game, huh? Let me tell you this: if Tulane and James Madison both get crushed, Notre Dame fans are going to be so upset. Listen. Isn't this about the 12 best teams in the country? I think Notre Dame's a better team than James Madison. I think all of us can agree on that. Notre Dame is a better team than James Madison. But the problem is that Notre Dame is not in the conference. They should be in the conference. I heard that their other sports, Notre Dame's other sports, are in a conference, which is the ACC. Is that correct? Why isn't their football team in the ACC? Remember back in 2020, the COVID season, Notre Dame was actually in the ACC, and I like that. They should just stay with them, with that conference. That's a shame. And it's really a shame that they're not in the playoffs. A team that were in the national championship from last year. What the heck? Okay. Next episode will be before Christmas, so either Monday or Tuesday, December 22nd or December 23rd. We have a Monday afternoon game, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That's on Boise State's Blue Field between Washington State and Utah State. Another game that I forgot who I picked in that game. 2 6-6 teams. Okay. And, yeah, all right. I believe that is it for me talking about the current bowl season. But, yeah, a lot of these bowl games that I mentioned, they're not that big games. They're not that intriguing matchups. But when we get closer to New Year's, it'll be more intriguing games, all right? So, yeah, the teams that I'll be rooting for in the college football playoff, Tulane and Indiana. Why Tulane? Because they're in New Orleans. I live in South Louisiana, even though I don't really watch their games, but it's cool that they're in the playoff. For once, they had a better season than LSU. And why Indiana? Because first time ever, Indiana's the number one team in the country. They won a Big Ten championship in what? Almost 60 years. They beat Ohio State for the first time since what, the late 80s? They remain undefeated. The only undefeated team left. So yeah. Shout out to Kurt Signetti. And a big shout out to, what's his name? Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback. Yeah, he won the Heisman. He deserved it. I didn't watch the Heisman, but I had a feeling that he was going to win. That play, that game against Penn State, Amar Cooper somehow made that catch and kept his foot in bounds. That's the play of the year. No question. That might be the play of the year in all of sports. I think it is. Listen, you know what's really cool? I have the Canadian sports channels, and they do these shows every month called Top Plays of the Month, Bloopers of the Month. And then towards the end of the year, they'll have a show called Plays of the Year, Bloopers of the Year. Oh, I'm looking forward to watch that. Why doesn't ESPN do that? Why don't they do that on their networks? You got ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN News. They can't even do that. TSN can do it. Sportsnet can do it. I'm just saying. So, I guess I'll let you guys know if that is going to be the number one play of the year with Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson's famous call. Yeah. You know what? Let's play that right now. All right. I'm gonna do lip syncing. Here we go. Now, this part of the video you might want to watch.
Mendoza in trouble. It's out. Touchdown! Wow! A rock play. Unbelievable. Give him the Heisman Trophy now.
Yo, it's so funny. That announcer is great. That was like classic Gus Johnson right there. And there are people that don't like him. I get it. You can't like everyone. Not everyone's gonna like you. It is what it. Unless if you're Vince Scully. Who doesn't like Vince Scully? So, Gus Johnson. I don't really. I used to watch quite a bit of Big Ten games on Fox, but not as much anymore. I did watch the Big Ten championship game. I recorded it. I wasn't able to watch that. I wasn't able to watch that game live, but I had to record that and watch it. Number one against number two. You know what? You know what? I wish Gus can call a playoff game. I wish he can call a playoff game. Will he call a bowl game? I think Fox will have a bowl game, but will he call that game? Let me see if there's a game on. I think it's called the Holiday Bowl. I'm just gonna scroll down. I think CBS will. The CW network has a bowl game. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. Okay. I think CBS will also have a bowl game. It would be called the Sun Bowl. Let's see. Yep. CBS has the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Does Fox have a bowl game at all? They do. The Holiday Bowl. Okay. I don't know. I really don't know if Gus Johnson will call that game. Anyways. Yeah. All right. Here's some interesting news. We're approaching the Winter Olympics in February. I'm really looking forward to that because I have Peacock. You get to pick your own events, which is really great. I did that for the Summer Olympics last year. Lindsey Vonn will be at the Olympics as an athlete. That is amazing. She is must-see TV. She's 41, and she is back as an alpine ski racer. She's really good. I hope she does well. She'll be back in the Olympics. She retired for a couple of years, just like Phillip Rivers in the NFL. Wow. What if Tom Brady comes out of retirement? No. So, it's cool. It's really cool. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Speaking of retirement, this just popped in my head and I almost forgot to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about this now. John Cena. I guess he's officially retired in the WWE. I don't really talk much about the WWE or pro wrestling in general because I don't really watch it much. I don't really watch today's pro wrestling. I love watching the good old days on Peacock, which, by the way, it's going to leave Peacock at the end of the year because I watch WCW, and it's going to be their shows as well as I think all of WWE programming is leaving Peacock at the end of the year. So what does this mean? Is it going to be on Netflix now or somewhere else? Yeah, because this means I guess the WWE on Peacock is coming to an end at the end of the year, which is kind of unfortunate for me because the WWE is the main reason why I have Peacock. I got Peacock in the first place because of the WWE. I was still see it was back in 2021 where I had to get Peacock because before that, WWE's programming would be on WWEnetwork.com, okay? But for whatever reason, in 2021, WWE Network moved to Peacock, and at first I did not like that. I was like, what the heck? But I eventually got Peacock, and as time went by, I started to like Peacock. And I love it. I love Peacock. Now I'm disappointed. Now I'm disappointed that the WWE's programming is leaving Peacock at the end of the year. Will I get rid of Peacock at the end of the year? No, because the Winter Olympics is coming up, and I'm obviously going to keep Peacock for that. But I don't know. I'll have to make my decision if I still want to keep Peacock. I also pay for Peacock Premium, meaning no ads, because I'm sick of the ads. I also pay for YouTube Premium. I'm just sick of the ads, But yeah, it's been over 4 years since I had Peacock, so it's really cool. And they're well known for their sports programming and all that good stuff. So I don't know where the WWE's programming will go to after they leave Peacock. Will it be on Netflix? It might as well be, because Monday Night Raw is on Netflix, and they don't have every single episode from that show from the old days. Because when that show was on Peacock, they had all the episodes. But at the beginning of this year, that show moved to Netflix as well as their old episodes, but they don't even have all their old episodes. What the heck? That sucks. Because there are fans like me that like watching the old pro wrestling on a weekly basis. It's like, you like watching an old TV series. People still watch Seinfeld. My father, I heard he's been watching Seinfeld. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess I'll find out. I guess I'll find out where WWE's programming will move to. They have a YouTube channel called WWE Vault, which is really good. Sometimes they do a 24/7 live stream. They just had one for Saturday night's main event. I would usually put that on right before I go to sleep and watch and listen to some of it. The old commentary. It was the golden era. Saturday night's main event is well known for their golden era. And speaking of Saturday night's main event, WWE just had one this past Saturday that featured John Cena's final match against Gunther. At first, I was thinking about watching that live, but I decided not to. As a matter of fact, I didn't watch that at all. I know. Did you watch that 5-tear? You said you were going to watch that live. Did you still watch it live? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on it too. Especially the John Cena's match. What are your thoughts on his match? I didn't see the match, but I saw what happened at the end. It was John Cena against Gunther. Gunther, or Gunther, whatever you want to call him, he's an Austrian. He's a heel, a bad guy. He's got that mean look on his face. I like Gunther. I enjoyed him when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. Before that, he was the Intercontinental Champion. He was the Intercontinental Champion for like over 660 freaking days. Until he lost it to, I think he lost it to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 40 last year in Philadelphia. I didn't see the match. To be honest, I have no interest in watching that match. But I heard what happened. The aftermath. Listen, before this match happened, who did I think would win? I thought John Cena would win just because he's John Cena, one of the biggest stars ever in WWE history. But no. WWE shocked the world. Not only John Cena lost his final match, but he lost his final match by submission, meaning he tapped out. And I saw the clip where he tapped out. He was smiling. What on earth? Who the hell smiles when they get tapped out? Well, I guess he does because his career is now over in pro wrestling, but what the heck? That is weird. And it was in Washington, D.C. Can you imagine if the President of the United States was there? That would be funny. But no, he was at the Army-Navy game instead, which makes more sense, right? Why he was there. Gunther will now be the biggest heel, one of the biggest heels the WWE will ever have. I saw a clip on Twitter, or X. Someone was recording outside. You know, the fans were leaving the arena, and somehow they saw Gunther getting on the bus, and they were chanting, "F you, Gunther, Gunther." I was like, wow. Wow. And people are also unhappy with Triple H, Paul Levesque, the man who is basically the new Vince McMahon in terms of him making the decisions. Because, you know, WWE's scripted. If the WWE isn't scripted, the fans wouldn't be pissed off. They wouldn't be. But because it's scripted, the fans, they have the right to get angry. It's kind of like when people say, oh, the NFL is rigged. NFL is fixed. I guess this really is the end for John Cena. I don't really know what to say. I gotta be honest. Listen, I'm not. I know a lot of people grew up watching the WWE, and there were a lot of people grew up watching John Cena in the WWE. I didn't. I didn't start watching it until I was 16. So I guess I was still growing up. It was in 2017. 2017 was the beginning of John Cena fading away from the WWE. He wasn't doing much during those years, the late 2010s. I'll admit, if I were to grow up watching the WWE, I would most likely would be a John Cena fan, because a lot of the children and women they cheered for him. It was funny because back when he was in his prime, when he was the top guy for many years, the grown men started to boo his ass because they got tired of the same old, same old, same old from him. They got tired of him being the top guy. They got tired at Vince McMahon pushing him down their throats. And that's how the whole "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chant became so iconic. You know? And he's a great guy. John Cena is a fantastic person outside of the WWE. The behind the scenes, yeah, he does the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's amazing. But I'm talking about the John Cena wrestling character. That's two different things. Yes, he goes by his real name. Okay? But I get why there are people that just don't like John Cena in the WWE because they got tired of the same old, same old, same old. I understand that. I get it because a lot of the wrestlers, they change up their character over the years, but he never really did. Well, he used to be a heel. He started as a heel. Remember the Thugonomics character, which didn't last very long? I was hoping he would bring that back. That was everyone's favorite John Cena, because he was funny on the mic, talking trash. But then he gave up his rapper gimmick to become the top guy, and then that's how the whole Super Cena, Never Give Up began, that character. And then the WWE started to go PG, so he started wearing these colorful hats and t-shirts and all that. Yeah, that's where people started to realize that he's getting stale. His character is getting stale, and they started to push him down the fans' throats. If you're a Cena fan, you like him. If you're not a Cena fan, you don't like him. It's crazy. John Cena had to deal with all that stuff for a good 10 years. How do I know this stuff when I wasn't watching it back then? Because I did my research. I like to look up these guys. I like to look up the history for some of the things that I like to watch. You know, I know some pro football history before I was born. Just like pro wrestling, Major League Baseball, tennis, you know. It's cool. Rock and roll music. I love old rock and roll. A lot of those songs came out before I was alive. You know what I'm saying? The old wrestling that I like watching, I wasn't alive back then, but I love it. That's my old entertainment. I like my old entertainment. So you can have your entertainment however you want it to be. Yeah. See, that's the cool thing about today's internet. You can find any movie you want. You can find any music album. Yeah, you might have to pay for it, but it's worth it. You know? So, anyways, back to John Cena. Yeah, I just never really liked him very much in the WWE. I mean, there were some moments that I liked that he had, but I just wasn't that excited. I mean, his farewell tour, to me, his farewell tour kind of sucked. You know, when he announced that he was retiring in 2025, and when he announced that I've never won championship title number 17, when he said something like that, I'm like, okay, that means he's going to win championship title number 17. And that's exactly what happened at WrestleMania 41 this year, even though it was a very crappy ending. But that was kind of predictable. You know what else was more predictable? Was when he won the Intercontinental Championship. The reason why he won that championship, the Intercontinental Championship, was because so that he can complete the Champions Grand Slam, where you win the two main world championships, the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. Apparently, he has never won the Intercontinental Championship. And he wins it in his final year? I find that kind of weird. But he won it in his home state, Boston, Massachusetts. He won that title against Dominic Mysterio just so he can lose it a month later to Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series. After that, I was like, what the heck? So he wins the title just so he can lose it? See, WWE is kind of predictable sometimes. That was predictable, him winning that championship. Yeah, that kind of bothered me because I'm not a Cena fan. If you're a Cena fan, you're gonna love it. You love that. You loved it when he won championship title number 17. You loved it when he won the Intercontinental Champ. But if you're not a Cena fan, you're not gonna get excited. You're gonna be like, oh well, I saw that coming. You know, I knew that was gonna happen. But nope. But his retirement match, his last match, that ending, almost no one saw that coming. Yeah. You know what? Before his final tour began, his final year, I really thought his last match would be against Randy Orton. It really should have been against Randy Orton because John Cena and Randy Orton, they faced so many times. They did. That would have been perfect because Randy Orton is still an active wrestler, although lately he hasn't been active. I'm not sure what happened to him. I know he's getting older, but I really thought Randy Orton would be John Cena's final opponent. Turns out they already faced each other back in April, or no, I think it was in May. But yeah, it was. Yeah, when he turned heel, that was shocking. But his heel run sucked. It was really boring. So that's why he brought back his Super Cena or his Fruity Pebble gimmick, whatever you call that, his corny self, as Tyrone Magnus, the YouTuber that hates the John Cena character. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to miss him in the WWE. He's accomplished enough. He had a long enough career. But it was cool. I guess it was cool for him to do that farewell tour because obviously he was the biggest star for many years, and that's why he has many fans. So I have to give a shout out to John Cena for doing that. I got to give him credit for doing it one last year. But what if this isn't really the end for him? What if he fakes his retirement and he turns heel again? I don't know. Will he be in the Hall of Fame next year? Maybe not. Maybe the year after. There is no policy. It's not like the MLB or the NFL Hall of Fame where you have to wait 5 years. Now that Phillip Rivers is out of retirement, he has to wait 5 years again. I think he would have been in the Hall of Fame next year in 2026. But now he won't be because he came out of retirement. Wow. So, yeah, John Cena had a lot of great moments. I'll be listening to the pro wrestling podcasts of them talking about the last match in his career. Yeah, I listened to 3 wrestling podcasts. Busted Open with Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray. Off the Ropes with Sam Roberts from Not Sam Wrestling. Oh, did I just say Off the Ropes? I'm sorry. It's called Not Sam Wrestling with Sam Roberts. And then Off the Ropes with Jonathan Coachman and Mark Henry and who's the other guy? Tommy Dreamer. So, yeah, because I have SiriusXM. That's where I get my podcasts from. And, yeah. Wow. I saw a video, though, of someone recording John Cena's final entrance. You know how he runs to the ring and the cameraman runs right behind him, so it was kind of cool to see that. That is it was, man, when he ran down the aisle, it was very narrow. It's usually never that narrow. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know what to think. It's so weird that he smiled. It's like, sorry guys, sorry everyone, I'm done. I quit. Because John Cena, it's all about never giving up. The last time he tapped out was 20 years ago. That's crazy. 20 years ago, he tapped out. WrestlePalooza, I did watch that event live, by the way, where he got destroyed by Brock Lesnar. I actually enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed that squash match. So Brock Lesnar's still around. Randy Orton's still around. I want those two to go one-on-one. They went one-on-one like twice in 20 years, and that was it. Can they go one-on-one? Come on, make it happen. WrestleMania. I want to see Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton go at it. WrestleMania next year. Can we make that happen? Please, make that happen. What if John Cena comes back and he wins the Royal freaking Rumble? Nah, that can't happen. The Royal Rumble's going to be in Saudi Arabia. That's going to be weird to watch. Especially the women's Rumble, because they can't show their skin. They have to wear full clothing. That's going to be weird to watch. The women's Rumble. Ugh. WrestleMania's supposed to be in New Orleans next season. My brother and I, instead it's in Vegas again, but New Orleans will get Money in the Bank in the Smoothie King Center, and my brother and I are actually thinking about going to Money in the Bank next year, but we might not, because I heard that the seats are very expensive, which is honestly ridiculous. Holy crap. The WWE is the new NFL now when it comes to the money. Yes, the NFL is bigger than ever. WWE is also bigger than ever. My gosh. How much money do you need? Not everyone's rich, okay? Not everyone's rich. There's a lot of poor people out there. Whatever. But again, if I don't go to Money in the Bank, I'm not gonna be disappointed because I'm not a big fan of today's WWE anyways. At this point, if you go to a WWE event, that means you're a big fan. But I'm not a big fan of today's product. But I will say that in my opinion, I think the WWE is better now than what it was a couple of years ago. So, I don't know. Is John Cena going to have like one last final appearance? Or was that his final appearance? Alright. Well, maybe Gunther will win the Royal Rumble. He'll be like the biggest heel. Okay, so this episode is about to be 2 freaking hours. Yeah, I know. That's because I'm doing this once a week. Good thing I have extra time. Okay, so I got some comments from you, 5Tear, from the last episode. I want to make sure I read those before I head on out of here. Your first comment said, here's the quarterback situation with the Colts. Daniel Jones is out for the rest of the season. Anthony Richardson is still on the IR for an eye injury, and the rookie Riley Leonard is battling through an injury of his own, but will most likely back up Phillip Rivers tomorrow. Okay, which was Sunday. It's not looking great for them. I guess that is the reason why the Colts called Mr. Phillip Rivers the man who has, 10 kids and is a grandfather? Goodness gracious. What a story that is. For real. Yeah, man, this is very unfortunate with these injuries. Daniel Jones out for the rest of the season. Michael Penix Jr. is out for the rest of the season. Now, Patrick Mahomes is out for the rest of the season. Micah Parsons what's his name for the Commanders, the quarterback Commanders. I forgot it's on the tip of my tongue. Crap, what's his name? Gosh, the Commanders quarterback who won the Heisman Trophy for LSU, Jaden Daniels. Yeah. Is he out for the rest of the season too? This is insane. Okay, 5Tear, and your other comment, you said also they announced earlier this week that the Week 16 Sunday night game was flexed out. It was originally Bengals-Dolphins, but now it's Patriots-Ravens. Okay, so they can but chose not to for this Sunday. Wow. NFL schedule is weird sometimes. But, yeah. 5Tear, I want to thank you so much for actually following the episodes. If you listen to this entire 2-hour episode. Thank you very much. That means you are a big fan of the channel. Hear this music. Danger. Enjoy big football weekend. College football playoff round 1. More NFL. See you next week before Christmas Eve. Have a good one, folks.